Hello, Reds. Thank you very much for tuning in on today's daily episodes. Anyway, it's just going to be a deep dive into obviously the development of Curtis Jones and how we foresee this coming season for the young scouser within the team. Anyway, joined by four very special guests. Anyway, absolute legends. I'll introduce them now. First off, we've got Doug from the Dugout Football channel as well. Ricky, Connor, and Mick Madan. Make sure before you do shoot off everyone, all the lads' links are in the description. So I really appreciate the lads taking the time out this evening. And hopefully hope you've been looking after yourself, boys, as well. And we've got a little 5-question quiz at the back end of this as well. I'm the quiz master because you all know how bad I am with quizzes. So it's best I do the quizzes anyway. But Doug, thank you for coming on, mate. We'll start. Obviously, got a couple of questions I'll ask all you and as well, everyone. If you've got any questions for the panelists as well, do drop them in. I will be reading them out anyway, and really do appreciate everyone. If you're watching on the repeat, as I said, head over to all the lads' socials, subscribe to all their channels as well. But Doug, Curtis Jones, massive season ahead. How has Curtis's development been so far in his Liverpool career?
Interesting. I think is a word to say, interesting. I mean, he started really, really well when he came on. Like that Everton goal, like everyone remembers the Everton goal, don't they? Absolute wonder strike. And I think the 2021 season he kind of broke through into the team more in that team. Last season, I think he had a very stop-start season, I think you'd have to say. Remember, he had one of those serious injuries. I think it was like an eye injury, and he was out for a while. And when he came back, he was sort of used in this team sort of sporadically, a little bit. So I think his development has been good to an extent, but I think it's been kind of stop-start for me recently.
Yeah, there's a lot of different questions and points that we'll discuss tonight as well. Let's quickly go off the back of it. He's made 74 appearances for Liverpool in terms of the first team. He's got 8 goals, 10 assists in his Liverpool career as of yet. Still only 21 years old, so he's got a lot of development in relation to that as well. And as Doug alluded to, last season was massively impacted. He was out for 61 days due to, as Doug said, an eye injury. So that's quite a large period going into off the back of last season. But Ricky, how is his development? And we'll speak about obviously the elephant in the room in terms of obviously Trent, the quality of Trent and the pressure in which is thrust upon out in the team as well. Anyway, but Ricky, it's how have you gauged Curtis' development over the last couple of years since he's come into Liverpool?
So I think Curtis Jones is a bowler. You've got to understand he come from the under-23s as a left winger. We've then brought him into the first team as a centre midfielder, attacking midfielder. And then Klopp sort of trying to turn him into that Gini Wijnaldum role that was there. Ball retention, trying to hold on to the ball, trying to find that pass. But that's why a lot of people are not understanding what Curtis Jones is about in a minute, because they all see the goals, like YouTube videos of goals in the under-23s. But he's asked to do a different role in his team. And listen, he's 21 years of age. He's going to be at Liverpool for a long, long time. Maybe he can release the ball a little bit quicker, but that will come through development. But there's a few clickbait channels out there at the minute, Liverpool fans, absolutely gunning for Curtis Jones because we ain't signed the centre midfielder this summer. It's wrong. He's one of our own. And he's got a big future ahead of him if he knuckles down. Obviously, he lost his place to Harvey Elliott at the start of last season. But listen, he went away to Porto and absolutely smashed them to pieces by himself. I think he got 4 assists in that game.
Yeah.
The goal against Brentford away from home as well was a banger. I mean, he's a top player. He's got a big development ahead of him, and he's got Klopp, who's his manager, is the right combination for me to help him progress. So people just need to lay off him because we ain't signed a centre midfielder for 100 million. So like people just taking it out on Curtis Jones for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of strings this, but when the Mick, in reality, I was speaking to you before we come on today, mate. Obviously, the people within football, whatever club you do support, as I mentioned, we'll lead on to the question. I'll ask you and Con this question in a little second in relation to comparing them to Trent and how difficult it is. But it's his age range, and Mick, and obviously the players in which England have produced over the last couple of years. I think everyone is expecting like the likes of Curtis, or not just Curtis, but young players within England and in these Premier League teams to be on the standard and level of, say, Trent and Foden. Those two are pretty much generational talent, would you say, Mick? And it's quite harsh to really trying to compare their level to Curtis' level, would you say, at this moment in time?
Yeah, I think so. I think Foden's the easy comparison to make, isn't it? I think it's a comparison that you don't even mean to make, but you just do it because they're of a similar age. One plays for City, one plays for Liverpool. They're both for the top two clubs in England, so it's a natural comparison. But I just think Curtis isn't at quite the same level as Foden. I think we can all agree on that. Phil Foden's an absolute beast of a player and can do everything. Curtis Jones is like Ricky said, quite different. A winger, now a left side of a midfield three or the right side of a midfield three, and he's still trying to tailor his game because I think he's still quite. I used this word earlier on Twitter. He's quite wingerish, like still in his play, and he's still trying to get that down to what a midfielder does, and I think he's getting there. But like everyone's pointed out on, I'm sure numerous times on Twitter, like he doesn't release the ball quick enough. Sometimes makes stupid decisions. His decision making final third, like stuff like that. That's like, it's not like physical aspects. It's mental aspects we're talking about, and it's a 21-year-old kid we're talking about as well, who's just turned 21 in January, I think. So, and I think like the boy said as well, like I think he got 15 Prem games last season. The year before that, he got 24. I think obviously that was because of the injuries, so we had to play a bit more because we had to play Fabinho and Hendo at centre half for most of it. But I won't talk too much more about that. That was an absolute nightmare. But like last year, it was like we had more options, so it was more difficult for him to get in. Therefore, it was more difficult for him to get a bit of rhythm. And I think he's a rhythm player because once he comes in, even if he comes off the bench, it takes him 10, 15 minutes to get going. He's one of them. If he gets consistency and if he gets to a level where he can start producing every week and he gets put in every week, I think we'll start seeing the best of him. And it's just one of them. You need to just persevere. Like he's 21. Like to have an option like that, even if he's just on the bench for, I don't know, like half of the season next season, then it's because the players that are in position are doing what they need to be doing, and he needs to be a little bit better. I don't think Klopp's looking at it like, oh, he's got a year left or he's got 2 years, and if he's not convinced me by then he's gone. I think it's a case of he's a local lad. He cost absolutely nothing, and he's being compared to players that are unbelievable. And like you said, Trent as well. Like we've got a good track record bringing lads through the academy, so there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And I think if he manages that a little bit better, I think he'll play his natural game, which I think is quality. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, mate. Let's get to your comments as well. If you've got any, as I said, top of the show, got any comments or questions for the panelists anyway, get them in. And obviously your thoughts mainly on Curtis Jones. As Steve said here, he's convinced Curtis will come good. Still need a good run of games, in terms of what Mick was saying then, which is difficult when he can't afford to drop points in a chase for the Prem. Yeah, just alluding to how difficult it will be. And down for the Lark, Jones is a good player, defo. He just looks like he needs a midfield mentor. And it's integral in it, Con. Let's make sure I haven't missed anyone else's comments as well. Jones seems a bit of out of ideas. Reckon he could learn from something like Steven Gerrard as a midfielder. Probs his hero, as we said, had a little image of it before. Where has it gone? Look at how young he is here. Curtis won't thank me anyway. Bloody hell, Curtis. He's developed, he's matured quite a lot, and he can anyway. But still, as Mick and the lads were saying there, Connor led me in perfect to obviously my question. Does being Scouse add more pressure onto Curtis Jones' shoulders? And considering, obviously, and just given that Trent, the development in which he has made in his Liverpool career at an early age, has that added more pressure to Curtis Jones' shoulders really.
I'd say based on a fan side of it, then I'd say looking at social media and so then, but realistically it shouldn't. Look, he's it's not often you get 20-year-olds and younger breaking into Liverpool's first team and becoming top world-class stars straight away. Trent is one of out there, and I think, to be honest with you, I think a little bit of the fan base is spoilt in some sense, with Harvey Elliott coming in and doing so well at the start of last season. Everyone's like, oh, why can't Curtis do that? And as the lads have said perfectly right, his development got rushed throughout COVID, and as Mick said, throughout that horrendous season that we don't like to mention, but it was rushed terribly, and I think Jurgen would have liked to have brought him in a lot more slower than what he has had to do. Now, is Curtis Jones a bad player? No, he's far off it, but when you have the likes of Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho, available week in, week out, it's highly unlikely he's going to play. I think, even in the league, I think even Curtis played, as the guys mentioned, Porto game, and even Man City at home. I can remember Curtis having a brilliant game with that. And it's, again, Curtis Jones is, he's so young. He could become, if Liverpool was to go into, a 4-2-3-1, for example, at that left mid or even that attacking mid position, Curtis Jones could become even good. Like you said, and the lads have said, he's an attacking player that's had to develop into a 3 system, a Jurgen Klopp system, that midfield is so tight and compact, and it's the workhorse for Liverpool, while it allows Trent and Robbo to and other players as well to go on forward. So Curtis has had to learn that, and look, it comes to players a lot quicker than others. Yes, in some situations he does take a bit of time to pass the ball on, or to take that decisive moment, but that's through development. Like the other lads have said, it takes time, and there's no doubt if Curtis Jones played a rhythm of games, if he played 8-10 games in a row, you'd start to see that then, and that's all he needs. He needs a good run of games in the team, and to just cement his place, because I think once he does that, then I don't think you'll look backwards. Then I think you'll actually go forwards quite a lot. But when you have the likes of those 3 I mentioned, Naby Keita, if we was to bring anyone else in as well, get ahead of them. That's what he has to do. And I think once he does do it, though, I think he will do tremendous things for Liverpool.
Yeah, spot on, Con. Doug, just a quick touch on that, on the back of what Con said there as well, mates. In relation to that question, does him scout or add more pressure to his shoulders? I think it would do. Living in the city of Liverpool, how football means to the city of Liverpool, everyone knows from an outside point of view. But do you think he's got the right attributes to very much handle that?
Yes, I think he does. Curtis Jones is one player I think people sort of have a bit of a scapegoat for him, really. He comes like people, like I've seen posts, and like I remember there's a post, I think it was on one, I think it was either his birthday or maybe a goal he maybe scored, and like people are saying go to Scunthorpe. Like what kind of comment is that? It's clearly someone who doesn't rate Curtis Jones. I rate Curtis Jones. I think he is a fantastic player. I think like what Con said, I think his development has been rushed. I don't think there's any extra pressure because he's Scouse. And as Mick says, Phil Foden is just
generational.
He's just brilliant, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant. So yes, it's disappointing, of course. He's not up that level yet, but I think once you get him into the team, I think you'll get a run of games, because I think next season, with the 5 substitutions rule coming in, I think he's probably one of the likelier ones to probably either start, come off the bench, come on for the last sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes. Then I think he's an impact player, Curtis Jones. I think he is an impact player, and I think next season is going to be very, very important for him as a player as well. People calling for him to go on loan. No, not for me. Not for me. Especially if you're like you're obviously losing Taki, you're obviously losing Origi, you're obviously losing Mane. I wouldn't have him out on loan. So I think next season is going to be a big season for Curtis Jones. But to answer your question, I don't think there's any added pressure on because he's Scouse.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Keep on getting your comments in as well, everyone. Great. And obviously, shout out to Jamie Phillips Football Channel as well, mate. Obviously, I know you obviously won't say what you're going for at the minute, mate. But thank thoughts with everyone on the panel as well, mate. And as I said, messages are always open, mate. And thinking of you, fella. Anyway, but obviously, we'll go to Anfield. Lark's question. Jones is a good player. We'll read that one, mate. Thank you for your comment. Needs a 10. Yeah, come on. Yeah, of course. He's a 10, not an 8. Klopp needs to let him off the leash, similar to what the lads were saying before. Anyway, we need to have. We kind of have 3 young 8/10s in Elliott, Curtis, and Carvalho. Anfield, Lark. So we've got a lot of great young talent, haven't we? Buvac is getting a percentage, obviously, with when he moves. Remember, he called him out as one of the best talents he's seen when Klopp came in six years ago anyway. Paul A, thank you very much for your comment, mate. I think Curtis has the potential to be as successful as Steven Gerrard, but when he gets game time, he has to stand out more with his performances. 100% there, Paul. But everything is there, as the lads have said. It's going to be hopefully a successful season next year. And that's why I've done the show, and we'll be deep diving into a lot of the player profiles. Obviously, we're not that far away from the beginning of the season, but hopefully, I'm pretty sure, as the lads say tonight, Curtis has still got a bright future, and I cannot wait to see him in a red shirt this season anyway. I'm hoping he just hits the ground running from the get-go anyway, as well. Everyone hit that. Thank you very much, John, anyway. Appreciate it as well. But we'll go on to the next question anyway, Ricky, in relation to his attributes as a player. When you've watched him, I think you touched on it a bit at the top of the show, mate, but what really impresses you about his game? For me, when I watch him, he's quite a tall lad, and he's 6'1", 6'2" anyway, but it's his frame and his ability to maneuver between midfielders, mate. What really stands out in Curtis's game for you, mate?
Oh, he's left-footed for one. I mean, there's not that many of us out there left-footed, so I'll give him that. But like you see when he's got the ball, I mean, how sharp he can turn in between players. I think I see a clip on Twitter earlier where he was just doing flicks, turning inside out on players. He's quick. He's got a bit of pace about him as well. Like he can get away from a defender. The only bad thing really about him is that he does tend to hold on to the ball too long. But we've already said that. Once he gets that out of his game and passes it on further forward, finds space. But I just think we need to get him away from that ball retention role. Maybe give that to Naby Keita because he's not the best Naby Keita at going forward and sort of finding spaces and passes because he struggled with that. So maybe they could switch roles sort of a little bit. Give Curtis Jones that role maybe next season. But obviously, it's going to be tough. But like Doug said, the 5 sub rule is going to help a lot with him coming on, maybe starting a game, depending what sort of teams we're up against. Like we see with the big games, Klopp trusts him. Like the City at home game he played, he done really well in that game. We put him in the midfield away from home in Europe. He's done well in that game. But I do think he needs to sort of add some goals to his game a little bit. We don't.
He's got that eye for goal, hasn't he, mate?
Yeah.
As a lot of said, the goal against Everton, and obviously was it the game against Brentford last season? Was that
the goal last season he scored. Yeah,
that was a potential, and then we conceded again.
But I don't know if it's Klopp. Klopp don't seem to like players shooting from outside the box that much. So that maybe puts him off a little bit. But no, it's a big season for him. This talk about loaning him out, I don't think we should do that because we've only got... Well, our midfield don't really stay fit. So you can't send everyone out on loan and sell everyone. And he can play 3 positions, so it's a touch.
Yeah. Mick, what really impresses you about Curtis Jones when you've watched him, and obviously watched him in the flesh as well when you went to game?
I think like Ricky said, he can beat a man. Good shot on him when he gets it right. But it's one of them, like you get to the edge of the box sometimes and you're like, you can either play the pass quickly into Robbo, who's making an overlap, or you can cut inside and have a shot. And so like if he doesn't choose to pass to Robbo and he cuts inside and has a shot and it doesn't go in, or it doesn't at least get as a corner, then that's when the questions and the people on Twitter start going, well, he's shooting too much edge of the box. But then we kind of do need that, because we've always gave Ox, one of Ox's positives that we've always said, and it's quite popular shout on social media, is that he bursts forwards and he has shots outside the box. It's like, well, Curtis Jones does that, and he's an option for a midfielder that does that, because I don't think many of our midfielders do that really. Obviously, now you've got Naby Keita, you've got Ox, and you've probably got Curtis Jones. They're probably the three that will do that for you if they get into the right position. So yeah, I think he's got all the attributes. I just think it depends what we play next season as well, I think, because I don't know if we stray from the 4-3-3 and maybe go 4-2-3-1, or if we really want to go like 4-2-4, then you can play in a 4-2-3-1, you can play on the left in like a left Coutinho midfield type role where he can track back, and he's also got creative license to drift left and in field. He can play a 10. He can probably play on the right, because he's played on the right of a midfield 3. So I'm sure he'd be comfortable doing that in that position as well. So it's one of them. Like I said this earlier as well, because I put a tweet up about Curtis Jones, like saying like it's a big season for him and that, and got a few replies. And it's like it is a big season for him only because like he's got a lot of versatility, and I think that works for him, and it works against him as well, though, because he's got that many qualities that you can't really pigeonhole him into a position, because he's quite. He ticks quite a lot of boxes, and I think that works against them as well, because it gets him more game time in a positive light, but in a negative light, he's not really specialised in a role as maybe some of our other midfielders are. So you can't just throw him into, like Fabinho, for example, CDM. You know he's going to be CDM when he plays, and that's like a specialised role for him. He hasn't really got that, and I think that's maybe the Klopp style, is to have more versatile players in the team, which is what we do. So I think it's going to be interesting to where he goes, but he fits a lot of positions. It just depends what we play. But I think it's a big one for him. I think he knows it's a big one for him as well. He knows it's a big season. He's got to step up to the plate this season. Obviously, he played a lot less Premier League games last year, obviously because of the injuries the previous year. But he wouldn't have been happy like sitting out, like we said. Javier came in and was just playing really well before the injury, and he was getting left out. He wouldn't have been happy about that. He was obviously putting on a brave face, and he's still celebrating when we scored a goal on the touchline, but he wouldn't have been happy because his place has been usurped by someone else. So he'll want to come back and make an impact, and I hope he does, because he's, like we've all said, he's got the quality. It's just about maybe tailoring that a little bit more to our game, and then obviously producing the goods when he gets in and around the box, and producing assists and goals. And that's how you judge these days, especially with, like I said, I keep touching on social media, but that's how you get judged by numbers. And if you're producing those metrics week in, week out, then he's got a great chance to go on and be very, very good for us.
Yeah, 100%, mate. That's how football's developed over the last, since obviously the social media age, innit, mate? Obviously, all five of us grew up in a madness of an age, and especially how quick Twitter is anyway. Christ, if the 2005 Champions League, if the Twitter spaces were around then, Christ, they would have been on fire anyway, after being getting slapped by Maldini and the boys in the first 45 minutes. Everybody went Carragher, Steven Gerrard out that club at that time. But yes, spot on there, boys, anyway. And that leads perfectly into obviously the final question, boys, as well, anyway. Conor, I'll ask you this, mate, as we go round anyway. What targets do you feel Curtis Jones will potentially be setting going into next season, for his trajectory really into this season?
I think, again, that it's hard, isn't it? Because, Liverpool midfielders, from last year particularly, I think Fabinho was, the top goal and assist maker in the midfield, which, from defensive midfield. I know that it was that period where he become, Brazilian's R9 again. But for me, I think Curtis Jones, if he can just, make it, just, I don't know, maybe 10 goal involvements, whether that be goals and assists. It's whether or not, if we change that system, as everyone's gone on and said, is if Liverpool go to that 4-2-3-1, for me, I think he plays in that 10 perfectly for Liverpool. And again, for me, I think it's just get game time, get your name in that conversation. If there is injuries and if there is a spot there, get your name there, and just cement it. But for me, yeah, about 10 goal involvements I'd be happy with for Curtis Jones next year, because looking at his dribbling numbers, he's in the top 90% in terms of dribbling a ball and, carrying the ball as well from, the middle of the field into the final third as well, similar to what Ox was in 17-18, where it was with Mo and Sadio. I think Ox was, the top goal, the top assist maker for both of those in 17-18. So if we can get that from Curtis Jones, I'd love it. But yeah, 10 golden assists for me.
Yeah, not too bad there, mate. Love that one, Gary. Just to step over, it's been a long time since that goal made the Shaq cringe. They still whinge about it, especially me and Mick and our blue mates anyway on Merseyside. It doesn't take that long anyway, does it, mate? For any of them. Yeah, it's not bad on your highlight reel anyway. But making sure we'll get to everyone's comments anyway. If I've missed anyone's, I really do apologise. I haven't done that intentionally. Make sure I haven't missed anyone's comments. But I was saying, Scouts are saying, great shout for the 5 sub rule. Obviously, the lads you lads were mentioned before. Forgot about that. It will help him tremendously. Need to keep him and push him. And he's a big personality on all behind the scenes video as well. It's not too. If he wasn't a football, I'm pretty sure it'd be on Liverpool's media team anyway. You never know. Probably would have created his own Liverpool fan channel anyway. He's good with his words anyway, Curtis.
I was just going to say, I just want him just doing what a win that was then every time we win. Just post a new video, in a different location, saying that.
Was it Jones from Sheffield? Tell him Fabinho. I tried to get that video up today, but yeah, it's spot on there. We should just have Curtis getting all the lads to do Scouts quotes instead. But was it Curtis that told Fabinho Jones from Chicken Lads? What was it? I'm guessing it was either more Trent, wasn't it? Oh yeah, but I'll try and get that video on the channel anyway. But he's off. Very few players would like to have a shot from inside the box. Gary Richards, you're right, it's been a while since that goal. He always tells Naby to shoot from outside the box. It's Davey Boy, absolutely smashing it at the minute, mate. Keep it up, mate. Very proud of you. And for everyone doing the content as well. The main men are in the house. Obviously, hopefully trying to get Dave on in future shows. I know we've been very busy, mate, but thank you for tuning in, mate. All good, John, as well, Dave. Sorry, not at the minute, Sebastian. I will drop you the link in the future show, mate. We've got a lot of content planned. Well, thank you for dropping in as always, mate. I really do appreciate it. But obviously, we'll go into that, Doug, as well, leading into the final question, and we'll go into the little quiz section to round off the show very soon. But Doug, similar to exactly the same question what I asked Connor, what you see, or what do you hope to see from Curtis Jones coming into this season in relation to his targets, or i.e. his career progression over the next 12 months?
I think if he could manage between 20 to 25 Premier League games, I think that would be very, very successful. And also, I'm actually going to go slightly higher. I think he has the attributes to be a very, very good player this season. I honestly do. I'm going to go for 12 goal involvements. So I'm going to go 6 goals and 6 assists. I think that is a very, very good way of putting it. And obviously, if he gets that, then obviously aim a little bit higher. But yeah, he just needs to add goals into his game, and I think he'll be. As I said earlier, I do think the 5 sub rule. I think he will get a lot of games. I think he'll get the. No matter what, no matter what sort of rounds we are in, obviously the FA Cup, League Cup, he'll get plenty of game time in that. I'd expect him to probably get game time in the Champions League. I'd probably expect him to probably play in the curtain raiser on the 30th of July. I fully expect him to play that. So I think it's a good early incentive to just get some game time and see where he is after it. But I do think that this season alone, I think you will see loads of rotation, and I think Jones will get a lot of game time.
Yeah, Spot on, mate. Ricky, your shouts for this coming season, mate. What do you want to see a bit more from Curtis? As a lot of the lads have mentioned, alluded to, more goals, more assists, but even more appearances would be a start, wouldn't it?
Yeah, more appearances, but I think that will come with the amount of games we'll have in the 5-sub rule. But I'd like to see him come in and sort of run the tempo in the midfield, like take charge, dictate play, obviously get more goals and assists. But I just think he needs to come in and he needs to look at Harvey, Elliott and Cavalier. I think them three there are in competition with each other for that place, because I don't think, listen, Henderson will do what Henderson does this season. Thiago will be a starter. Fabinho, they'll probably be the main three. Jones has got to look to be the next one, sort of down in the pecking order ahead of Naby Keita. Ox is done, I think, at the club. I just think they're keeping him there because obviously we're not signing a midfielder, so he'll probably go on a free. You probably won't see much of him, but Jones has got to get like the heads of him. But if we do go with that formation where you play two, then you play the three and the one up top, he can play across that front three as well. Obviously Nunes will be down the middle, but it's got loads of players in there for like the positions that are there. You've got Jota, Diaz, Salah, Fabinho. There's loads of players, but I expect Curtis Jones to try and make a stakey claim for starting in midfield. But I can't see him starting the City game, the Community Shield. Potentially away to Fulham, the first game, maybe. He'll start that game. But it'll be interesting to see what he does this season, because I do think if he doesn't kick on this season, that obviously you're going to get people on social media have a meltdown about it. But let's see what he can do. I'm hoping he bangs this season.
Yeah, spot on, mate. And Mick, final thoughts on obviously his development going to next season, mate. As Ricky said there, I'm hoping he does hit the ground running, and if you see that happening in the next 12 months. I
hope so. I was just going to say, when Doug opened up there and he was like, I can see 25, I thought you were going to say goals and assists. I was like, oh my God. You're expecting too much there. But when you said appearances, I was like, all right, then that's all right. I was going to say, you're bigging him up too much there. I'd love 25 assists and the goals. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. But no, I think, what did he get? So I'm just looking on Wikipedia now. So he played 27 games last year, got 1 goal. The year before, he played 34 and got 4 goals. So if you're looking at pure numbers, it looks like he's regressed. I mean, I don't know if that's the case. I just feel like he didn't get into the team as much because we like we said, the injuries the year before, so we didn't have that many opportunities to stake like maybe a prolonged place in the team. But he just needs, like the boys have said, he needs to do that. He needs to get into the team, stay in the team. Obviously, he's not going to stay in the team all the time because, like I said earlier, he's not a specialised midfield position, so he's not going to be in the team every week. And I think most of the boys in midfield know that we've got, it's quite an important role in a Kop team in the midfield. So you're going to have to mix and match, especially if we want to play 60 odd games again this season, which we all hope that we do. So there's going to be availability for jostling for positions like Ricky said, like there's Carvalho coming in, you've got Jones and Elliott, they're all kind of quite similar. You've got Nunes coming into the mix, but then obviously Mane leaves at like a left-sided spot. Obviously Diaz will take that, but then a backup to that, Jones could maybe fill in the cup games in that position. So there's a lot of scope for him. But I just hope that he kicks on and, like you said, like has a bit more authority, like gets into games, because I think for me, like when he's playing well in games, it's after he's done something really good. Like it's like a little quick 1-2 and he's flew away from someone, done a step over, whatever. And then after that moment, he starts to play and has a bit of confidence. But up until the moment where he does something well, he doesn't seem like he wants the ball. He treats it like a hot spud. He touches it and gets rid of it as quick as he can, or he does the opposite where he keeps on hold of it too long. So I think it's just trying to fine tune that and trying to get him to the point where he holds on to it for the right amount of time, considering what phase we're in. Are we in a defensive phase? Are we in an attacking phase? You need to release the ball at a certain time and take them out right amount of touches, not to scupper potential counter-attacks, not to scupper potential getting back and getting in position for a defensive phase as well. So there's a lot of hope for Curtis Jones, and I just think we need to. It's patience, I think, as well. Like we said with Foden, and he's like compared to like Saka as well, because he's like a winger as well. So a lot of comparisons there, but I think Curtis Jones is his own man, and he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders to come into this team and do well. So let's hope next year's the year for him. I just hope it is.
Yeah, spot on, mate. It as well, mate. And right, I get you all to shout out your socials and everything, boys, before we do get into the quiz. But Doug, thank you for coming on today, mate. Obviously, the quiz has only got 5 questions, so it won't be too long anyway. I'm pretty sure you'll all get it right anyway. But Doug, thank you once again, mate, for coming on. Obviously, you are getting married very soon, so I appreciate you taking the time out today, mate. Just shout out to everyone, obviously, your social channels and obviously where everyone can find. Please, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and yes, this is likely to be my last podcast before I am a married man. So I feel very privileged to be invited on, Jack, and thank you very much indeed. But yeah, it's just the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. Right, like you can see, they're closing in on 1.9k. I'm 16 away now from 1.9k. So hopefully get there before the start of the season, but. I'm not going to be around much of the next couple of weeks because obviously it's a busy time for me. Obviously, I get married on Saturday, got the honeymoon on next Tuesday, so not much content. But I'll be back in the middle of July with a big bang. But thank you very much for having me.
Very welcome, mate. And enjoy the last couple of days of freedom. Sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, thank you, mate. You're always welcome on the channel. Ricky from the 1892Reds podcast, thank you once again for coming on, mate. And obviously, just shout out your channel and what everyone is expecting coming to this new season, mate.
Yes, 1892Reds podcast, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got a show tomorrow, I believe. Mick's coming on to that. So yeah, just head over there. We're on the road to 600, so it'd be good to get there before the start of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much once again for coming on, mate. And Kop from the Kop Council as well. Where's the graph for you? There we go. I've got it. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. So shout out your channel and obviously what content you got coming up.
So yeah, thanks for having us on. The Kop Council over on YouTube. Yeah, we're looking to get to I think 700 subscribers soon. So hopefully we can get there. And yeah, I just can't wait for the season because we can stop talking about transfers on videos. We can actually get on and talk about football. But yeah, thanks for having us on.
Always welcome, mate. And we all love a good transfer video, don't we? Right, Rick Van, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I do appreciate you taking the time out to come on as well. Shout out your socials, mate, and obviously where everyone can find you and what shows you've got coming up in the coming weeks, mate.
Yeah, so it's Kopite Podcast on YouTube, Kopite Podcast on Twitter, Kopite Podcast on Instagram, I think. Yeah, it is, yeah. So what are we on there? 1.32. Not bad, actually. I just put a little tweet today. Hopefully we can get to 1.5 before the new season. But yeah, we've got a few on there. Like you see, done a chat with Gregory Vignal. That was quite good. What else have you got there? Jay's story of a crew about the crew kit, which was decent. That was on Redmen as well. That's so you can get it for free on ours if you want, or you can pay for it on Redmen. Choose whatever you fancy. A few on there. Alex Horn, that was a good one. Chatting to him. Obviously, he's a big Liverpool fan. That was a pleasure to do. Jay's just announced today he's going to do a backstory on Sami Hyypiä, which will be amazing, and he's already posted about it. Sami Hyypiä has on his Instagram story, which is amazing. Personally, I'm hoping to try and get some more Liverpool players and some famous Liverpool fans as well. I'm pestering Alex on via email to say, give me some of your mates' numbers, like Ian Sterling and Russell Howard and people like that. So hopefully I'll get one of them very soon.
No, you will, mate. Keep on every single one of these boys absolutely smashing it, and we'll all support one another as well, mate. And thank you for taking time out. We'll support everyone as well for jumping on tonight, mate. Everyone as well. But we've got 5 questions. You can write them down if you've got a pen and paper, anyway. But first off, there's only 5, and no cheating, everyone. No, you're that. But it's
Mick, put your phone away.
I was gonna say I'll just throw this behind me.
We'll go from the first question, everyone, and everyone at home. No one better be on Google. I know we are on the internet at the minute, but it's quite difficult. but first question. Two local-born players started in the 2012 FA Cup final. Steven Gerrard was one, and who was the other? I did tell you these weren't that hard. I mean, you're never coming back on if you don't get that one, boys. Anyway, so and everyone.
What year? 2012.
2012, yeah. So the two local-born players started in the 2012 FA Cup final. Steven Gerrard was one, and who was the other?
How do we give our answers? Do we have to write it down and show you it, or do we have to? Do you just go around the room?
I go through the. No, is everyone got it? Question. So has everyone got their answers? I believe is all anyway. And the answer was Jay Spearden for that one. You've all got that one, didn't you? And hopefully you did get that one. So question 2. It's all right. You don't get any smarties or anything. I'm not that hype on this channel, sadly. So you get a pat on the back anyway. You get from me. Question 2. Who's the first Spaniard score in the Champions League? Spaniard score for Liverpool in the Champions League. If you think about it, it's quite easy. That's only because I know. So the first Spaniard.
What was that? What was that, Jack? The first Spaniard to score for Liverpool in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow! So not Champions League, not like before.
Just Champions League, not European, yeah. Oh, a couple of these there. So we'll be there.
I've got one name, but it can't be the first.
It's the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
I think I've got it.
Scored my very first game. And an extra point if you can get the actual game as well. I don't expect you to get the actual game. But yeah. Is everyone ready? Yeah, you lads ready in chat?
Connor, you look shocked here, mate. Who do you think it is, mate?
I'm still trying to think. I've obviously got one name in my head, but I'm still trying to think.
Louis Garcia, thinks
yeah.
That was versus Bayer Leverkusen. I haven't got the actual date on that, but it was Louis Garcia. This is an official.
Was that one like the knockout games? Wasn't that one of them? Was it? You mean just like any game or like knockout? Like
just any game.
Any game.
Yeah, just any. Yeah. Sorry, I should have rephrased that. This is the Liverpool official quiz book, and no one, you better not buying this book as well. So blame Liverpool FC if it is incorrect. But so question: for which club did Jerry Ryan score in the FA Cup defeats of Liverpool in the 80s? So, for which club did Jerry Ryan score in the FA Cup defeats of Liverpool in the 80s? So, which club did Jerry Ryan score in the FA Cup defeats to Liverpool in the 80s?
It's a hard one, that, you know.
Get the Google it.
Oh, yeah. So I'll just pick a team. It's a team in the Premier League at the minute as well, and he finished in
Palace?
the top 10. Yeah, I'll give you the answers, but I don't think that was a difficult one. So apologies, that was quite a difficult one. I wouldn't have known that anyway. And shout out if you did get it. I will be looking into the replies in a seconds. So brownie points for you if you got that one. Number 4, question 4. Which legendary manager was in charge of Celtic against Liverpool in 1966? Christ, that's an hard one. So which legendary manager was in charge of Celtic against Liverpool in 1966?
Doug should know this.
I'm looking at you for this.
Yeah, it's a proper legendary manager as well, like top 5 managers of all time.
Top 5 of all time.
No, for that era, for 1966 in and around that time.
Let's say Roy Hodgson wasn't going then, was he?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's still debatable.
But yeah. So which legendary manager was in charge of Celtic against Liverpool in 1966? So who the Celtic manager was in 1966?
Go on,
Do
Doug.
you know
Tell
this?
me
I
answer.
go on. Yeah.
The only one I can think of is Jock Steen.
Yes, there we go, Doug. So Jock Steen. Yeah,
Fair play.
there we go, mate. Fair play. As I said, I wouldn't know these if I didn't have the bloody quiz book in front of me. And the final one. Name the Borussia Dortmund ground which staged the 2001 UEFA Cup final. You all should know that. So
What's the name of the
Borussia
stadium?
Dortmund ground. Yeah. In the 2001 UEFA Cup final. Oh Christ, I've got dyslexia, and that's going to be good, me pronouncing that, isn't it?
We're the stallion, isn't
Yeah, we'll go with that one. I'm guessing you knew that one, everyone. So yeah, the Westfalenstadion. Yeah,
something like that.
But yeah, did anyone 5 out of 5 on panelists? Yeah, I'm guessing.
No.
Who won that one? Doug? Did you get 5? Did you have Google up as well, there, lad? Did you have Google?
Trust you to say that, but no, I knew about funny thing, everyone looked at me for the Celtic one. Jock Steen was the first answer that came in my head. I remember watching a DVD of, I think it was the Three Kings of Jock Steen, Bill Shankly, and Sir Matt Busby. If you haven't seen it, honestly, go and watch it. It's a fantastic documentary. And I've got a wee story. My dad used to be like not really a big Hibby, but Hibs were playing Celtic. I cannot remember what if it was in a league game or like a cup game. But my dad was waiting outside Easter Road, and that was the very, very night that Jock Steen sold Kenny Dalglish to Liverpool. And I have to say, my dad, I think this was probably mid-70s or something. My dad met Jock Steen. He looked like he was half cut. And he just signed my dad's autograph and then basically walked away and drove away in his car. Now, you wouldn't be able to do that you wouldn't be able to do that anymore.
So we're thanking your dad for Kenny, are we then?
Well, I don't think he would probably take the acclaim to that, but that's his memorable story from the time Jock Steen sold Kenny Dalglish to Liverpool.
Yeah, spot on there, mate. Yeah, it was only a little bit of fun there, boys, as well. So I know a couple of them were quite hard anyway, especially back in 1966. I was like, what, -45 me then back then. So, but we get to everyone's comments before we do shoot off anyway. Right, lads, hope you're well. For me, I really want Case to succeed this season, this year. We will be a fantastic player for us, and sort of Carvalho signing, he will help Fabio and the other lads as well. Spot on there, Andrew. Thank you for tuning in, mate. And as well, Ginny, how you doing, mate? Big up the groom as well. Shout out to Doug as well. Yes, it's the last time. Bloody hell. There, Ginny as well. Can't wait for the training to start. It's training open today. I bet it was depressing, like when I go back to school. And, they're just sod United. Them and United are in not the best place going to next season, which is fantastic. Anyway, let's just say that anyway. Big transfer in the next few days is moving to the married men. Good luck there as well, Alan. Alan saying good luck there as well.
Thank you, Alan.
I've been saying Jock Steen, and obviously Alan saying Jock Steen as well. But gents, thank you very much. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Doug, Vicky, Connor, and Mick. Thank you for coming on, boys. Really do appreciate it. Taking the time out tonight. And all the lads' channel links are in the description, but I'll just quickly shout out their channels as well. So we got the Mick from the Kopite Podcast. That's all the socials there as well. Please do head over, subscribe to him as well. And Ricky from the 1892Reds podcast. And we've had Connor from the Kop Council. And we've had Doug from the TheDoug-Out-Football channel. Gents, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on, boys. And everyone, have a lovely rest of your night. Look after yourselves. As I said, all the best to Doug as well. He'll be a married man very soon. Put up the Reds and go ahead, care this season.